a little bit too early to tell just yet, but it's starting to look like a Bitcoin Cash is going to just be an altcoin. Now, the main Bitcoin, it looks like it's blowed right through this whole thing with little or no interruption, and if anything, it's gotten a little bit stronger in price. Litecoin has always been number 2 to Bitcoin, and it is running strong too, along with Bitcoin. I would say, at this point, at this stage in the game, that Bitcoin and Litecoin are your 2 big coins. Really. I don't think it's going to be Ethereum. I think it's going to be Bitcoin and Litecoin all the way, which makes Litecoin one heck of a fantastic buy, you know, if that's going to be the case. And it looks like nothing's going to unseat them. This was an effort. This was an effort to unseat the big one, Bitcoin. And it just didn't touch her. It was like a water balloon hitting a 40-foot high statue. Just didn't even move it. Didn't even budge it. And now you got your Bitcoin crash. I mean Bitcoin Cash. You know, it's nothing more than an altcoin. And that's what it's looking like it's going to be to me. And Bitcoin itself, I guess it's going to go through the SegWit 2 times, which will give it an extra megabyte of storage capacity coming up, and then the Lightning Network. And but even still, even at 1 megabyte, you know, it doesn't seem like she's really having that much trouble. If you really want to move some Bitcoin, you include a little bit of Bitcoin in the payment, you know, and it'll move. And that little bit of Bitcoin you include in the payment is actually still a lot cheaper than the banks charge to move money. And you can move within 10 minutes if you do that. You know, it's only these people that are really tightwads that only want to pay 10 cents to move $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Then they have to wait a few hours, you know, and then they're all complaining, you know. But when Bitcoin becomes worth an awful lot, it could become worth an awful lot of money because it'd be a way of transferring vast amounts of digital gold across the internet. And if that becomes the case, I mean, it's a hell of a lot easier to transfer Bitcoin than it is to transfer real gold. If you don't believe that's true, look at the trouble that Germany's been having trying to get their gold back from the United States. You know? Or just try to take some gold with you someplace. If you got a lot of money, say you're a millionaire out there listening to me right now, try to take 20 ounces of gold with you someplace. In a little block. You know, just try it. And you'll see how quick they steal it from you. They will actually steal it. You'll never see it again. It's not like it's theirs. It's not like you're trying to launder money or anything. And there's another subject. Let's talk about laundering money. I mean, there's a bank, I think it's in, where was it? I've read it this morning. There's a bank, I'll just try to find it real quick. Oh, anyway, those guys, there's a thing here about the respondents to that 9/11 call from Air Transat, the passengers stranded in Ottawa. They're really upset about it, you know. I think personally they should try for criminal charges on that. I mean, they let those people suffer on that plane all that time, and the airline, it says the airport staff weren't able to provide bridges to allow the plane to be unloaded. The airline said that the airport staff were unable to provide bridges to allow the plane to be unloaded, and there was delays in refueling the aircraft and drinking water reservoir. I don't buy that because the airport authority disputes those claims. They said that the airport authority said that there was both gates and air stairs available, and they were prepared to bring supplies beyond just bottled water to the stranded passengers, but never received clearance from Air Transat. So, in this case, I think that there should be an investigation into criminal charges against Air Transat for blocking the airport authority by not giving them, the airport authority a clearance, and waiting all those hours. For what reason? Were they trying to persecute those poor passengers or what? You know, at the very least, there should be a investigation into this. They'll investigate things like two guys dragging a shark, you know, or they'll investigate that to the limit. But believe me, this is a hell of a lot worse. This is all these people. There could have been people died on that plane. It could have been, you know, so that's a lot worse. Anyway, couldn't help but read earlier today. I can't remember exactly where I read it, but one of the banks is involved in allowing somehow money laundering. Getting back to the subject we were on, one of the banks here has been caught allowing money laundering somehow or another. And the thing is there all this talk that they put out there about money laundering? We got to stop cash because of money laundering. We need to stop Bitcoin because of money laundering. And the banks are really the guys who are probably behind all the real money laundering. All this fake money laundering that's going on is probably none of it. You know, that's the thing. Is they're bamboozling all of us, and they think how stupid we are, and we have been pretty stupid, but we need to wisen up. So anyway, back to Bitcoin Cash. I don't think it's really going anywhere. I think that Bitcoin is the one that's going someplace, and Litecoin, because Litecoin's always been moving with Bitcoin. You go way back to when they were talking about Litecoin was going to be on Mount Gox, you know, back in the old days of Bitcoin. And it's always been the partners. Litecoin was gold. I mean, Bitcoin was gold, and Litecoin was silver, you know? And they moved together. If you watch the charts, Bitcoin and Litecoin move together like gold and silver does. Seriously. And where does Ethereum play in all this? Well, first off, you have to understand that Bitcoin is very limited in supply. And Litecoin is almost as limited in supply. There's 4 times as many Litecoins as there is Bitcoins. And so Litecoin should settle in eventually at about 25% the price of Bitcoin. But by the time Litecoin gets there, what'll Bitcoin be? $100,000 a piece or something like outrageous like that? So Litecoin will be at what, $25,000 each? You know, by the time they settle in. And believe me, gold and silver are going to do the same thing. This ridiculous 80-to-1 ratio of gold and silver right now will not last. So get in and get your silver, because I'm going to tell you that it's going to go back to the historical ratio of probably 16-to-1. And so you get your mover's advantage right there. You get a huge advantage, because when the ratio goes back, gold is not going to stay the same price it is. And look, they just did you a big favor this morning. They just smacked her down again for you. You know? These guys at the central bank, I almost call them idiots. You know, but that's the old word for politician. I guess the root of the word politician was idiot, you know, originally. Well, I'm not sure of that. This is something I've heard through the grapevine anyway. But it makes a lot of sense to me. So anyway, I'm watching the gold and silver price. We've got a huge smackdown going on right now in the gold and silver price. So anyway, that's my opinion on what's going on with the Bitcoins and stuff. I think a lot of these altcoins are going to disappear and go into oblivion. But I think some of them are going to move up. Now, Ethereum, I was talking about Ethereum. Ethereum, they've made so many of them in comparison to Litecoin and Bitcoin. Litecoin's a lot rarer than Ethereum. And so, eventually, I think the price of a Litecoin is going to exceed the price of an Ethereum. I think Ethereum might come in around third or fourth coin or something. You know, it's a good coin. It's a good, solid coin. I'm not disputing that it's a good, solid coin. Bitcoin Cash is probably going to settle in. It's probably not going to disappear. It's probably going to settle in like number 20 or something in the end. You got a number of other good ones out there, you know, like Dash is a good coin, good solid coin. Monero is a good coin, you know. I would say stick with your good coins. And don't go for these number 40 or anything, or number 50, even though in the short term they might move up. You know, in the long term, I think they just might disappear, a lot of these coins. Because this reminds me of the auto industry. Early on in the auto industry, there's a whole bunch of automobile companies, you know, that sprung up, and they disappeared. And the big three were the ones, Chrysler, as Dodge, Chevy, and Ford were the big three. And so there was other companies, you know, like some of the big companies even disappeared, like AMC. You know, you remember the Pacer, the little bubble car? I should show a picture of a Pacer or a couple Pacers on here. If you guys don't know what a Pacer was, it was made by AMC. And I think the AMC also made a Matador. Take a look at that. Okay, listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and hey, we'll catch you in the next issue. Bye-bye.